Hello everyone, it's time for chapter 9. So we left chapter 8 with Charlie having climbed up a tree because her idea was to see if she could see through the leaves to try and see the North Star that they could walk towards, but she kind of got a bit stuck, had almost fell. So the end of chapter 8 finished by saying, as my ear flattens against the tree trunk, I feel a strange vibration pulsing through it. At first I think this must be the blood pumping through the veins there, my heart still hammering in my chest. But then I realise that this rhythm I can feel isn't a pulse, but a melody. And that's when I hear the music coming from the heart of the tree. Chapter 9. It's the same dance music that Dad always plays on a Friday night. The sound of this drifting up the stairs to my room. The swelling melody makes me feel sick as I clink to the swaying trunk, my eyes still screwed tightly shut. I hear the staccato horns as they punch out the rhythm of the song, the beat winding its way from deep inside the tree straight into my ear. I hold my breath, trying to make sense of this. People say that when you hold a shell to your ear, you can sometimes hear the sound of the sea. But as the rough bark scratches my face, all I can hear now is the sound of music. My mind reels, the world spinning as the song flows through me. Then I hear my dad's voice suddenly loud above the music. "No, you listen to me." My fingers slip, the sound of Dad's voice almost jolting me out of the tree. When I'm up in my room, this is usually the signal for me to clamp my hands over my ears, desperate to block out the sound of the argument that I know is on the way. But I can't do that now. Instead, I cling grimly to the tree, feeling the bark splinter beneath my fingernails as my parents' voices rage within. I can't hear what they're arguing about, only the odd angry word punctuated by the sound of a plate smashing against the wall. Dad said that things would be better when we moved here, but the arguments have been getting worse. Mum and Dad arguing about all the things that have gone wrong. Mum and Dad arguing about how to put them right, arguing about the future, arguing about the past, arguing about me. And there's nothing I can do to make them stop. I want to shout at them, tell them that I'm lost in the woods and I need them to come and find me. But their argument storms, my words only come out in a whisper, my whole body shaking as a fresh gust of wind rocks the tree. "Help me!" Then the music swells, drowning out Mum and Dad's screaming voices. For a second, this is all I can hear before the tree suddenly shudders with the sound of a door slamming shut. The song is cut off into silence, and all I can hear now is the rustling of leaves. Even though my eyes are still closed, I can feel the tears rolling down my face. Then I hear the sound of Dizzy's voice calling from the ground below. "Charlie!" I force my eyes open, unable even to reach up to wipe the tears away. My hands grip the tree trunk, the pain I can feel seeping into its fissures as the darkness surrounds me. "Charlie!" Dizzy calls out again. "Are you okay? What can you see?" Tilting my head, I peer up into the inky blackness, my eyes slowly adjusting to the dark. Through the thinning branches, I can see slivers of silvery light splashing through the leaves. "I'm nearly there," I call out, the words tasting like dust in my bone-dry mouth. Gritting my teeth, I reach up to the slender branch above my head, praying this won't break as I haul myself higher. My arm aches, fear thumping in my chest as the tree sways again. But then my head breaks through the final curtain of leaves, and I'm forced to squint as the sudden brightness fills my eyes. Blinking, I look up to see the moon shining down directly overhead. It looks almost close enough to touch if I dared to let go of the tree, a swollen crescent, white against the darkness of the sky. My head spins as I take a deep breath, the air so sharp and cold up here. My eyes scan the horizon as I try to get my bearings. I'm searching for a sight of the village, certain that I'll be able to glimpse its lights somewhere in the distance, but all I can see is a dark green carpet of leaves, the moonlight illuminating the tops of the trees. Holding tight to the branch, I crane my neck in the opposite direction, but my gaze just rolls along an unbroken sea of treetops. The woods stretch out in every direction for as far as my eyes can see. In the distance, I hear the chick-chick sound of a nightjar, and I remember with a shiver its Morse code call. A storm is coming. Fighting to keep my fear under control, I lift my head to the sky. The lie of the land might be making it look like the trees go on forever, but if I can find the North Star, we'll still be able to find our way out of the woods. According to Scouting for Boys, the best way to find the North Star is to look for the plough. This is a group of 7 bright stars that, when you draw lines between them, make the shape of a plough in the sky. Although I think they look more like a saucepan. The 2 stars at the tip of the plough are called the pointers, because these point the way to where the North Star is. I blink, my eyes taking a moment again to adjust to the full glare of the moonlight. From up here, the stars seem so much brighter than I've ever seen them before. But as I search the sky for the familiar shape of the plough, I realise something's wrong. It's not just the brightness of the stars that hurts my eyes, but the patterns they make in the sky. I can't see the plough pointing the way to the North Star. The stars look all wrong. I stare up in confusion, trying to make sense of the pinpricks of light scattered across the darkness. There's no sign of Orion or any of the other constellations that the scouting book said I should learn to find my way in the dark. For a second, I think that I've found Cassiopeia, but then I realise that the final 2 stars look all wrong. The familiar W shape of the constellation flattened into a question mark. This isn't right. The constellations should always look the same, no matter where they are in the sky. I used to stare out of my bedroom window at night, memorising their shapes and wishing I could just float off among them to escape. But now their strangeness scares me. "Charlie?" The sound of Dizzy's voice pulls my head out of the stars. "Are you all right up there?" I shake my head, my fingers trembling as I cling to the tree. I thought by climbing up here I'd find the way out, but I feel more lost now than I ever did before. "I'm coming down." As the roof of leaves closes over my head, it's almost a relief to descend into the darkness again, the leaves whipping back against my face as I clamber from one branch to the next. I have to look down with every step that I take, making sure that each foothold I find won't send me tumbling out of the tree. My heart thuds in my chest, the fear so much worse than when I climbed up. Between the branches, I catch glimpses of the ground far below, the tiny figures of Dizzy and Johnny, almost lost among the shadows. Down and down and down I go, the moments blurring into an endless nightmare as I descend. But then I'm pushing past the last curtain of leaves, the yellow glare of the torch beam swinging up to greet me as my feet touch down on the final bough. "Charlie!" Dizzy scrambles to help me down from the tree, my body shaking uncontrollably as I finally feel the earth between my toes. "Are you all right?" I feel Dizzy's arm on my shoulder, his voice filled with concern. But as I look up at the first face I see is Johnny's looking down at me. "So," he says, "did you see which way we have to go?" I look around. Beyond the fuzzy circle of light cast by the torch, the woods seem even darker than before. The spaces between the trees are painted black, and as I peer into their shadows, I can't stop myself from picturing the strange constellations that filled the night sky. No sign of the North Star, no way of knowing which way to go. Looking up to meet Johnny's gaze, there's only one thing I can say. No, there's no way out. That's the end of chapter 9, to see what they come up with next.